Hello, core artisans. My name is Shonda, and welcome to my channel, Under the Needle Quilting and Crafts. Hopefully, my algorithm is not completely broken, and you guys are actually going to see this video. I have not filmed in quite some time, and you know when you don't film, YouTube doesn't push your videos out. I have not been myself. Which is why I have not filmed, because I did not want to come on this camera and fake happiness that I was not feeling. Nothing has happened. I mean, like nothing. I mean, I've talked to you guys about my mental health struggles on this channel, and you know, I'm not like battling like some type of clinical depression, but I'm having mood swings that I'm not normally used to having. I'm not prone to mood swings until now. And I realized I was listening to a podcast about menopause, and I'm realizing that a lot of the symptoms that I'm having, this lack of motivation, this lack of enjoyment, this general malaise that I'm feeling are attributable to menopause. And I didn't make the connection because, like I said, like even as a menstruating woman and a teenager, you know, I got my first cycle when I was 9 years old, and I would see like TV shows or listen to people talk about having PMS and they're PMSing. And I'm like, I have never PMSed, not in any noticeable way. But now it's like I'm PMSing without the M. I don't have the M anymore, but apparently I have PMS. So I did take a menopause test on Tuesday, and it did confirm that I am in menopause, and which I suspected. And like I had a hysterectomy in 2015, so I don't have the normal bodily signals that you would have to know when you've reached that time of life. The only way I knew was that there were certain symptoms that my body would have, like tenderness in this area was my main symptom. So whenever it was that time, I would have tenderness, you know, in my boobs. I'd have boob tenderness. And I hadn't had that in quite some time, which made me realize, well, maybe I'm not having that normal estrogen cycle, right? Because I still have the ovaries. So I was still making the estrogen. I just didn't have the uterus anymore to, you know, to have a monthly cycle. And so I'm realizing that that's what it is. And that these mood signals, these mood swings, these ups and downs are a product of my hormones being different. And I'm just not used to that. So it's just something I'm going to have to find ways to battle against. I'm going to have to learn to recognize it because it's not all the time. It comes and goes, just like, you know, there's still some type of hormonal cycle, I believe, going on. It's just not what it normally would have been when I was a younger woman. And so I'm having to learn how to identify when I'm feeling these things and combat, you know, the malaise, because I get real lazy isn't the right word. And lack of motivation doesn't seem strong enough of a term, but it's like, I don't want to do anything. Things that I love doing, I don't want to do it. And so I'm just going to have to deal with that. But I'm thankful that I listened to that podcast, and I'm thankful that I put two and two together and realized that, you know, it's a natural hormonal thing, that it's normal, that I am normal, that I am okay. And then I just have to adopt, you know, strategies to deal with my hormones or the lack thereof. So now that that's out of the way, the next thing I want to say is rest in heaven, Donna Jordan. I'm sure you guys have heard by now, but Donna Jordan passed away on March 14th. And that was devastating to me because I felt like I knew her. I've been watching her for years, and I felt like I knew her. And so to see that come up on my Instagram, my YouTube feed, to see that come up was a gut punch. It really was. I did not realize that she was ill and had been ill for some time and had been battling that illness. You know, this is all in the video that her husband uploaded. I did not know they had been together since they were 16 years old, that the only life that he knows is a life with her, and how that must be for him every day, day in and day out, to have the life that you've known for 50 years just be gone. I can't imagine what that is like. I don't want to imagine what that is like. I don't know what to say. And when I commented on that video, that was literally what I said. I have no words, because I don't have any words. There are no words. You know, she was not some 30-year-old woman, but she wasn't 90 either. You know, she was vibrant. She was active. You know, she was physically fit. It looked like they lead active lifestyles or eat well. You know, there's no obesity. She looked like a healthy person to me. And to know that she wasn't, and that she was battling something, and had been for years, probably the entire time I was watching her, she was battling an illness. Her husband did not say what that illness was. And of course, you know, we respect his privacy and hers. But I have no words. I knew that I hadn't seen a video of hers in a while, which is normal for me because my YouTube algorithm is all over the place. I watch a lot of sports content. I watch a lot of quilting content. I watch a lot of, yarn and crochet content. I get a lot of my news from YouTube. So my algorithm is all over the place. So it's normal for me to not have a video pop up. And so I have a whole Donna Jordan playlist. And what I'll do is I'll be like, haven't watched a Donna Jordan video in a while. And I'll go to her account and I'll save to a playlist anything that she's put out. And so I just hadn't realized that, you know, a video hadn't come out in a few months. And I did see the recap video. So I did see that came up on my timeline. It was like a recap of 2024. It was a two parts, two videos where they did, like, I guess, the best of 2024. And I saved that to my playlist, but I did not watch because I'm figuring, you know, some of those episodes I haven't watched yet, because I still have episodes from 2024 that I have not watched. So I didn't want to watch the best of and see things that I hadn't already seen. So I just saved them to my playlist to watch later. And I hadn't really thought much of it. I just figured they were taking a break because, you know, it was around the beginning of the year. I just figured, you know, they took a break after Christmas, because who doesn't? Like, I take breaks all the time. And so to see that come up was rough. I watched that video and I did cry. I cried. I grieved for her, for him, for their family. And I'm going to do whatever I can to support them, because I can't imagine how you move on after that. I don't know how you move on after that. I'm sure some of you know, because I'm sure some of you have had the misfortune of having to go through these things. And my heart goes out to you as well. So with that, I'll show you guys what I've been working on. I do have an abandoned project. This is what I get for being on Facebook. I normally stay off of Facebook. I noticed back in, you know, maybe 10 years ago, just Facebook just became, it was just a toxic place. I just noticed every time I went up there, I was in the comments and I was arguing with people. And I was like, why am I arguing with strangers in Facebook comments? Like, what are we doing here? And so I stopped using Facebook for a long time because I wanted to get myself out of that. And so now when I go on Facebook, it's normally I go to my groups, the groups that I'm a part of. And that's what happened with this project. This was the Crochet Amore. It was a sampler blanket. You guys might be familiar. I had purchased some, and you guys helped me pick my colors. I had purchased some Lion Brand Pound of Love, and I was finding 4 skeins that I wanted to make. 4 colors that I wanted to use to make this blanket. It was going to be a sampler blanket, and it started on Facebook. I was in the TL Yarn Crafts Facebook group, and they were talking about Tony's new sampler blanket, and everybody was showing their color palettes, and I got so excited, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. I'm getting ready to go back to work soon. These are 12-inch squares, so I'm not working on some large project. It's going to be great. Forgetting the fact that I don't like samplers. I don't like quilt samplers either. So I don't know what made me think I was going to like a crochet sampler. Initially, when I started, I thought it was the colors. I was like, I'm just not excited about these colors. That's what it is. It's the colors. The colors are the problem. So I went out and bought some new yarn, some new colors. That blue skein up there is one of them, right? And I did two squares, and I realized it's not the colors. This is not the project for me. I don't like to do projects like this. I don't know why, but I don't. I like but I like, what's the word I'm looking for? Repetitiveness. I like, it's the repetitiveness that's soothing to me, right? So some people like to be challenged. So to have a new block, new pattern, new this, new that constantly, that works for them. It doesn't really work for me. That's why the sampler blanket for the Sew Sampler that was supposed to be finished already, I'm still doing blocks on it because I don't like that. I like to be able to cut everything at once. I like to be able to, kind of rote sew, just kind of, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you continuously feed, I can't even remember words right now. When you continuously feed your fabric through the machine, piecing, chain piecing. Thank you, Jesus Christ. I like the chain piece. I like to, I like the repetitiveness of it. That's the relief for me. The repetitiveness. And you don't have that with a sampler blanket. And it's not working. So I would go to work and I would go get my crochet bag out and I would bring the project to my desk and it would just sit there and I wouldn't crochet anything. I would just let it sit there. And so finally I had to, if it's not bringing you joy, what are we doing here? I will find something else to do with the yarn. I'm sure. I'm not going to take out what I've done. I'm still going to leave that project at work in case one day I feel like picking it up. Maybe I'll change my mind one day. I'll leave the project at work in case I feel like working on it. But right now, I'm not enjoying it. And if I'm not enjoying it, if I'm not looking forward to it, then what's the point? So I put it away and I've started something else that's going to be my work project. I'm going to show it to you guys. I'm still working on my Ruana. It's been a slow 2-3 weeks. I have not done that much because again, the energy levels have been all over the place. The moods have been all over the place. I have been all over the place. So, yeah, I'll show you what I'm doing. I got a few things I'm excited about. So the Ruana that I'm working on, I'm not going to show it to you guys because it's laying flat right now. I finished the border around it and now I'm doing the vertical surface stitching. So I have it kind of laid flat so I can do that. So I don't want to pull that down and bring it down here. So because it's laying flat to where I can work on it a little bit tonight, hopefully, and get some more of that done because I do want to get it finished. So I'm still working on that. But my new work project is going to be this. I'll show you guys. I made it too big. I definitely could have did, this is the Feather and Fan stitch pattern. It is a 17 stitch repeat. And this is what she's looking like. I definitely made it too big. So unless it's probably not going to be rectangular like I want it to be. It's probably going to be more square unless I do it, unless I use the blanket this way. But I intended for it to be this way, but I don't know if that's going to work out. But yeah, like I took this to work today and I was excited. I did a few rows. First time I've crocheted at work in weeks. I was excited to do this because it was rote. I didn't have to think about it. I've got my stitch markers in here, so I know I don't even have to count. I don't even have to count stitches. So this is what I'm working on. This is my new work project. It is using Lion brand Mandala. I am using the colorway Groot. And I am pairing that with the colorway Centaur. So I'll be using these together. So I'll be doing this one first, and then when this cake is done, I'll move to this cake. And then when that's done, you know, I've got 2 more of these Groots and 2 more of these Centaurs. I bought this yarn when Mandala first came out. I believe I bought it when it was brand new when it first came out. I couldn't tell you. That's how long I've had this yarn. So that's my new work project. I'm excited about it. Like I said, I did this is the first day I brought it to work, because yesterday was the day I decided I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to force myself anymore. I did bring this project to work yesterday, but I didn't really take a break yesterday, so I didn't work on it. But I did bring it today, and I did take a break today, and I did work on it, and I got like 3 or 4 rows completed in my breaks. So that was fun. I'm enjoying that. So I am working on that. The other project that I plan to work on is called the 6-day star blanket, because I don't have a blanket for home anymore. My home blanket is completed. I showed you guys that. That's the one where I was using the all-in-one granny square yarn. It had the pinks and the oranges and the you know, all of that. I showed that to you guys the last Thankful Thursday video I made. And since that's done, I need another home blanket. And so I've decided to do this 6-day star blanket. It was all viral on it was all viral on the TikToks last year. And the girlies and gents were complaining about the pattern. There was a whole drama that unfolded because someone said that the pattern wasn't accessible because they were using the, you know, a lot of pattern designers, they host their websites, you know, on like free places, and there are a lot of ads, lots of pop-ups. Like if you ever try to read a news article these days, it's almost impossible. There's so many ads and pop-ups. And so there are ways around that. Like I did, I copied and pasted in sections the pattern from the website to a Word document, formatted it, and printed it out. I don't know why the Gen Zers over at the TikToks couldn't figure that out, but apparently they had some problems. They also had problems with the way the pattern is written. I don't necessarily have a problem with the way the pattern is written, except for there's one thing that I'm not used to. I'm not used to the double asterisk, but she's got multiple YouTube tutorials walking you through how to make this thing step by step by step, and they go back 3 years, 4 years. So why the Gen Zers couldn't meander their way over to the YouTubes and look at the tutorial for clarification, I don't know. But one person took it upon themselves to format the pattern in a way that they felt was more acceptable, and then offered to distribute that. And us crocheters and anybody familiar with the maker community knows that that's a big no-no, because now you are disassociating that pattern from the pattern designer. That's a no-no. Now, I did start this blanket. Initially, I started it with one of my stitches has come out. It's not a big deal. I originally started it with this Karen Color on my halo that I have, but I've decided that I don't think that I'm not used to working in the round. I don't do it a lot. I've made a few hats, but I don't work in the round a lot. So that's a me issue. That's not a pattern issue. That's a me issue. I've also never made a star blanket before. I've also never used this yarn before. So I decided that maybe it's not a good idea to do multiple things that I've never done before. As in working in the round, which I'm not used to, working with a shape that's not round or square or rectangular. You know, I'm not working back and forth in rows, and using a yarn that I'm not used to using. Maybe that's a bridge too far. Maybe that's a bridge too far. I'm not going to rip this out because I'm going to use other yarn. I had my son get my stash down for me. And I've got other yarn that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make it with regular worsted weight yarn to start with. I feel like that's a better way to go about it. And then if I like that blanket and I decide I want to make another one, then I will go back to this one and I will make it. That's what I've decided. And I've also chosen my next wearable. So the goal for me here is to have 2 home projects. One being, well, ideally I want my blanket to be easy. This blanket, depending on who you ask, right? Some people say that once they get into it, like it seems like the people who had a problem are few and far between. But it was just a whole brouhaha. But my intention, I've heard people say that once they did the pattern repeat a couple of times, that they kind of had it down and they were able to just go through this blanket. I'm a big stitch marker user. I'm going to use a lot of stitch markers. I tend to use a lot of stitch markers. One of the complaints that some people had, I've watched, I don't know, every video I could find on people making this blanket because I wanted to see different iterations, different color palettes, how people did it, what they thought about the pattern, how long it took them, things like that. I have no intention of making this pattern in 6 days, right? Because that requires 2 to 4 hours of crocheting per day, which I can tell you I'm not doing. So I would like to get this done in a month. I'd be happy with that. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I do have my colors chosen. I'm going to go grab those. Okay. So my first idea was, I had a planned blanket called Wind River. It's a mosaic style blanket. It's going to take some time. And I was going to use this Lion Brand Red Heart Super Saver in navy and this red white all-in-one granny to make a specific blanket pattern. And so I thought about using this to do the star blanket, but then I decided I'd rather have, for my first one, I want more control over the colors. So with this, I can't really control the colors. So I decided not to do that. And then I remembered that I had gotten these 2 kits from Mary Maxim. This one right here, this crocheted stripes throw. And we've got some kind of a taupe, a turquoise, and a cream. And I've got this other kit from Mary Maxim to make the broken ripple blanket. And it's got a turquoise and a cream. And so I decided that I'm going to use some combination of these. And I might decide to throw in some of this as well, some darker navy as well. So I don't know how I'm going to do the stripes yet. I haven't decided. I'm not going to think too much about it. The only thing I want to really think about is what color I want to be in the center. Let me see if I can show you a better picture of this blanket. Okay. So this center here, I want to control that color. And I think I might want to use the navy for that center and then branch into the turquoise and then come finish with the navy and then kind of, I don't know. I need to decide. I don't want to spend too much time thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure I want to start with the navy in the middle. I just like the idea of having that dark center and then using the navy elsewhere in the blanket to kind of draw back down to that center, to kind of harken back to that navy center. So yeah, that's what I want to work on. That's going to be my next blanket project. And my next wearable, when I'm done with the vertical stitching, is going to be this big hook plus size poncho by Creative Grandma. I will be using a Premier puzzle. This takes 3 skeins. I actually have 4, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with the 3rd skein, but yeah, so that's gonna be my next wearable. So I've got everything kind of planned out, and I've got some flexibility here. You know, I might, you know, find myself doing the star blanket at work and doing the work blanket, you know, at home. I don't, you know, I want to be flexible here, but because I will say that the blanket that I have planned for work, the one I showed you, like I said, I don't have to think about that. I don't have to count. I've gotten the pattern down, and I can easily shoom through it, which means that's something I can easily do while I'm watching TV, you know, and not really paying attention. So, you know, I might decide to change my mind. Maybe I'll do the poncho at work, and because that's a pretty easy pattern too. It's really repetitive. So I might do the poncho at work and do the blanket here. I have not decided, but that's an option as well. So, yeah, as for today, oh, and I did get a little bit of sewing done. I think we had 4 projects in the Open Gate Quilt subscription box. One of the projects I completed, I didn't get to show you guys, and I forgot to take a picture because I gave it to my grandmother for her birthday, but it was the card made from that blue fabric. I've been really trying to convince myself not to buy more of that fabric. It is literally sitting in my Etsy cart, and the only reason why I haven't pulled the trigger is because the main print that I wanted is not available, and I'd have to pay top dollar plus shipping in order to get that print. And so that's what kept me from pulling the trigger. If I could have gotten that print, if the Etsy shop that I was looking at had that specific print, I would have bought it already. It'd be here already, and I'd be showing it to you already. But I have not bought it. But the second project I'm still working on, I need to quilt it. I've got some registration lines in, so I just did some straight line quilting just in between, you know, some stitch in the ditch, just to keep it held together. So, yep, I need to finish quilting this and get it bound. And I still have to do the other projects, but I'm having some trouble. If you guys can't tell, I'm all hoarded up over here. And it's not because of my general messiness. It's because when we got the rain, we got tremendous rain. What day was that? Today is Thursday. Was it Monday was it Monday? I think it might have been Monday. We got so much rain, like my yard was flooded after like 10 minutes of rain. And it started to, we noticed a leak in the ceiling up here, which is not good, guys. It's not good. So today, Adrian went up into the attic so he could try to see where the damage was, try to assess how bad it is, so we can try to get somebody out here to look at it, to, you know, figure out what it's going to cost to fix it, because Shonda doesn't have money for a new roof. So I had to move a lot of things out of the way, because what you don't know is the hatch to the attic is right above me. So I had to move a lot of stuff out of the way so I could get the attic down so he could get up there. And so I'm all hoarded up. So I got to clean this up now. Yeah. So there's that. And it's already 9:09 p.m. and I can tell you that I will not be doing that tonight. So tomorrow I go into the office again, and maybe I can get a little bit done in the morning. I have purchased some yarn storage options, but they won't be here well, one of the things that I bought some large plastic bins. I can't keep my yarn up there anymore. Up there. I can't keep it up there anymore because I can't get to it. It's too difficult for me to get to. It's dangerous. It's heavy. So, I mean, I can get to it, but not a big, huge, heavy bin. So we're talking about a bin that was maybe, I can't even get the length of it in the frame, but it's probably about 3 feet long and full of yarn. And so when I try to get it down, it's just a bit too heavy. So I've got some options. So I've got some Do I have one down here? I don't think I do. I got these large plastic, like kind of like under the bed storage bags, which you would use. And so I'm going to put the yarn in there, and that way it's not in one big plastic tin because the bin itself is heavy. The bin itself has weight. So by me putting it in the plastic, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to kind of separate it by project potentially, or put like yarns together, and they'll be in smaller amounts. So they'll be easier for me to get down from up there, without injuring myself. Cause I'm not exactly what you would call agile or strong. Lord. So, yeah. So that's what I got going on in my project life. And yeah, I'm really excited. I might start no. Who knows? I might try to start that blanket tonight, the 6-day blanket. I might try to start it tonight, because right now my projects are small enough that I could bring them both to work and choose the one that I want to work on tomorrow. That's the great thing about when your projects are still small, is that they're still portable. It's not till they start growing that it's a problem, which is why I wanted to like that sampler blanket so badly. I really wanted to love it so badly. I really did. But no. Yeah, so what else? Is there anything else? I feel like I haven't spoken to you guys in such a minute. I felt like there was so much to catch you up on. This video has been 30 minutes, so I guess that is quite a while. I'm going to try to get as much done as I can this weekend. My stepdaughter has a performance, one of her winter guard performances. But last time when we went, we had a lot of time out of it because the performance is literally like 3 minutes. So, even though she had a performance, I was still able to have quite a bit of time to get projects done. Like we were able to come back home because they had their, the preliminary, the qualifying round. And so, we pop in there, we're there for 30 minutes and we're out. And then when she has her finals performance, we just kind of pop in again, same thing. So, and then also, I don't know if these projects will be small enough to bring with me at that point, right? I'm imagining they would still be small enough. But the blanket, not the 6-star blanket, but the other blanket, it's just kind of long, but at least it's using a self-striping yarn. So I don't have to have multiple skeins. That is the beauty of having a self-striping yarn. One of the issues I had with the Ruana that I'm making was that, there are 3 different colors in there. And so if I took it to work on, like I have to have more than one color ready. So then it started to get too big. It started to be too much. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure I'll get something done. I'm sure I'll get some stuff done. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about these projects. I really am. And it feels good. It feels good to be excited about a project. Like, I don't know how much crocheting I could have gotten done if I hadn't been trying to force myself to work on something that I was not interested in working on. So I'm just not going to do that anymore. I do that in my quilting life. I don't know why I was doing it in my crochet life. In my quilting life, if I'm making something and I'm like, I don't want to make this anymore, I just don't make it anymore. I just stop. If it stops bringing me joy, I just stop making it. And that's just where I'm at right now. But I don't know why I was trying to force myself with this crochet project. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah. So I'm going to go and take a shower and, hopefully get some crocheting done, because I can't sew in here until I get everything cleaned up and put away and all that good stuff. And, I did also purchase some hanging yarn storage, because I noticed that my fabric, even though I don't get any sunlight down here, I do have a lot of lights down here. And I noticed that there was a piece of my fabric that had kind of a fade in it from where it was folded and the light was hitting it. I'm gonna see if you guys can see it. See that light stripe? That's where the fabric was folded. And the light was hitting it. So I'm going to have to come up with something for that. Now, it could have been from when I was upstairs because I was in a room with lots of sunlight. Down here, there is none. I only have artificial light down here. Now, I could have light because it's a garage and the garage has windows. This was a garage with garage doors. They took the garage doors out and they put windows in. But I have blackout curtains over the windows to keep the light out. And I just use artificial light. But I guess eventually even that artificial light is starting to fade some of my fabrics. And I don't want that to happen. So I've got some hanging yarn storage that I ordered from Temu. That will be here, I guess, no later than the first week of April. So 2 weeks from now, I guess. And that does hang. It hangs. And so it would block some of the fabric, but I might just have to put some kind of curtain up. I might have to hang some kind of curtain rod and put a curtain up there and pull the curtain back every time I need to get to the fabric because, I might just have to get some blackout curtains and put them up there because I just don't want to have an issue. So I looked at my other fabrics and I'm not seeing the same thing. And like I said, I've had this fabric for quite some time. I definitely had this fabric when I was still upstairs in the other room with full sunlight. And so I'm hoping that that's what it's from. But I am going to look at some of my other fabrics and check and see them and see how things are going. But I'm going to have to come up with some kind of solution for that at some point, right? But yeah, okay, I've talked enough. I'm not going to say anything more. I'm sorry it's been so long since I made a video. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Thank you for, dealing with my mood swings, my ups and downs that I've been having. And I don't think it's an accident that this started for me. I think, because you guys remember when my job was up in the air, and I think that just, I thought that it was about the job, but I don't think that it was. I think that the menopause was already starting because I started to have the weight gain. I started to have the, all of that stuff, that middle spread started happening and all the other stuff. And so I feel like, yes, there was uncertainty with my job and there still is in this economy, but I feel like some of the way that I reacted to it, some of the ways that I handled it was hormonal. So I'm going to be working on that. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to be working on these projects. I definitely want to get this stuff put away because I definitely want to get some quilting done this weekend. I do want to get all of those projects done. So I still got this to finish and then 2 more to do. So one of them is a quick one, but one of them is not. There's a lot of cutting and I can't cut right now until I get all this stuff put away. So I'm going to get done what I can this weekend. I'm going to try to force motivation for me this weekend. Knowing that I can't do something that I want to do sometimes is motivation for me. So knowing that I can't do any sewing until I get all this stuff, like I can't even get to my machine. I can't even get to my machine. So hopefully that's going to be enough motivation for me to get in here and get this stuff put back and put in the new bins that I purchased so that I can go ahead and move forward with getting some sewing done. I really would like to get some sewing done this weekend. And like I said, I can't get it done until I get this stuff put up because I don't have any space. So since nothing's going to be coming on down here tonight, nothing's going to be happening down here, I will be bringing these crochet projects upstairs and I will decide if I am going to start the 6-day blankets or if I am going to work on the project that I've already started. But anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Again, rest in heaven, Donna Jordan. Rest in heaven. I encourage everyone to watch that video. I will link it in the description. Anything we can do to support those guys would be, whatever we can do. We're a community. So thank you for being my community and thank you for allowing me to be yours. That is it for me, and I will see you guys on the next video.